While boarding the plane, the flight attendant asked, "Did you say goodbye to everyone important?" I was fumbling with my phone, trying to text my brother about picking me up from SeaTac, when the flight attendant grabbed my wrist, not gently, but with enough force to make me look up from the screen. "Did you say goodbye to everyone important?" she asked, her grip tightening when I tried to pull away. Her name tag said Patricia, and her eyes had this haunted quality that made my skin crawl. "It's just a 3-hour flight to Seattle," I said, confused and slightly annoyed. There were people backing up behind me in the jet bridge, starting to grumble about the holdup. Patricia didn't let go. Instead, she leaned in closer, and I could smell coffee and something medicinal on her breath. "That's not what I asked. Did you say goodbye? Really say it? The kind where you tell them things you've been meaning to say?" "Lady, you're hurting my arm," I said, and finally she released me, but not before pressing something into my palm, a folded piece of paper. "Seat 23F, she whispered. "Watch the man in 23F, and whatever you do, don't volunteer for anything." She plastered on a fake smile and greeted the next passenger like nothing had happened, leaving me to stumble into the plane with my heart racing. My seat was 14A, a window in economy. I shoved my carry-on into the overhead bin and sat down, unfolding the paper Patricia had given me. It was a photocopy of a news article from 1987. 7 missing after Flight 447 emergency landing. Investigators baffled. The details were sparse, but apparently 7 passengers had vanished during what the airline called severe turbulence over Montana. No bodies were ever found. "Heavy reading for a flight," said the woman settling into 14B. She was probably mid-60s, wearing a University of Washington sweatshirt. "I'm Ruth," she offered, extending her hand. I shook it, introducing myself as David, while trying to discreetly look back at row 23. A heavy-set man in a wrinkled business suit was wedging himself into seat F, already sweating despite the cold air blasting from the vents. As more passengers boarded, I noticed Patricia having intense conversations with specific people. She'd check their boarding pass, ask them something that made them look disturbed, then move on. A young woman in military fatigues got the same treatment, as did an elderly priest, a teenager with a skateboard, and several others. Each one looked shaken after talking to her. The captain's voice came over the intercom, but it wasn't the usual cheerful welcome. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Morrison. Welcome aboard Flight 447 to Seattle. We're aware of the unique conditions today. Crew, please prepare for Protocol 7. The flight attendants exchanged glances that looked like barely controlled panic. Ruth nudged me. "Protocol 7? I've been flying for 40 years and never heard of that." I was about to respond when the plane lurched forward, pushing back from the gate with unusual urgency. Through my window, I could see ground crew members stepping back quickly, some of them crossing themselves. 20 minutes after takeoff, cruising at 35,000 feet, everything seemed normal. The drink cart was making its way down the aisle, people were reading or sleeping, and I'd almost convinced myself that Patricia was just having a mental breakdown. Then the temperature dropped, not gradually, but instantly, like we'd flown into a freezer. Frost started forming on the inside of my window. The plane shuddered, not turbulence, but something else, like we'd hit an invisible wall. The lights flickered and died, emergency lighting casting everything in a sick green glow. People started screaming. The man in 23F stood up shouting, "Not again! I won't do it again!" Patricia rushed to him, pushing him back into his seat, but he was